All week, New York One is taking a closer look at Democratic Representative Hakeem Jeffries, a Brooklynite now making history leading his party on Capitol Hill. You'll learn about his time in public life, from losing primaries to rising through the ranks in Congress. Our Washington Bureau reporter Kevin Frey has a second installment in our series tracking Jeffries' path to power.
There's a hip-hop song, Every Day I'm Hustling.
Hakeem Jeffries has enjoyed a meteoric rise in Congress, vaulting from freshman backbencher to House Democratic leader in 10 short years.
The D in Democrat stands for deliver.
But his initial plunge into politics was anything but promising.
You've had the floor for a little while.
Hakeem, let me also say,
At the time, he was a corporate lawyer looking to make a move. Jeffries twice ran primary campaigns against longtime Assemblyman Roger Green of Brooklyn, the first when he was just 29 years old.
You are out of touch.
Jeffries argued Green was no longer responsive to his constituents.
How did you evaluate him as a first-time candidate?
I thought he was very good, yeah. And I had other primaries in the past, but no one was as prepared as Hakeem was, you know. There was no performance art.
Green survived both challenges, but he says Jeffries left an impression.
I remember after one of the campaigns, we said we need to sit down and take account of the critique that he raised against us, and we pulled the staff together, and I think as a result of that, he made me stronger.
When an assembly seat opened in 2006, Jeffries ran a third time and won. He'd go on to be re-elected 2 more times.
It's important to be able to learn from that experience, be knocked down, but not necessarily be knocked out.
In Albany, allies say he was a must-watch during floor debates. Speaker Carl Hastie bonded with Jeffries over their shared love of hip-hop.
Sometimes people have like that it factor. You know, Hakeem just has that it factor.
Manhattan Assemblyman Daniel O'Donnell remembers Jeffries being supportive when O'Donnell hit an awkward patch in his career. What's he like when the lights aren't shining?
That's the key. He's the same. And that's the gift.
In 2012, Jeffries saw another opportunity, setting his sights on Congress. Once again, mounting an insurgent campaign, this time taking on another longtime incumbent, 30-year Congressman Ed Towns. Towns bowed out, but endorsed Jeffries' Democratic primary opponent, Firebrand Councilman Charles Barron. Towns now says he did not like that the Brooklyn Democratic chairman was backing Jeffries.
As long as you're supported by Beto Lopez, I will not support you, in spite of all the things that I think that you can bring to the district and what you'll be able to do.
Jeffries easily won the primary and the November general election. Once on Capitol Hill, he landed a seat on the high-profile House Judiciary Committee, where he advocated for reforming the criminal justice system and modernizing copyright laws. Republican Bob Goodlatte chaired the committee.
I always found that he was someone that you could disagree with without getting into a disagreeable situation, if you will.
In 2020, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi gave Jeffries a high-profile role on the national stage, naming him a manager in the first impeachment trial of President Donald Trump. The assignment solidifying Jeffries' standing as a congressman to watch.
In a perfect call, the president would not solicit foreign interference in the 2020 election.
At the same time, he was climbing the leadership ladder, starting as a co-chair of the Democrats' messaging arm, then winning a race for caucus chair, succeeding Joe Crowley of Queens, who failed to win re-election. These roles allowed Jeffries to bond with members across the diverse caucus.
For everything, there is a season.
So when Nancy Pelosi announced in November she would step away from leadership to make way for a new generation, Jeffries was ready.
It's an honor to stand before you today.
He was elected to replace her unopposed.
People seem to be surprised about the smoothness of this transition, but there's nothing surprising about it. It was all laid in place, and there was never any question.
Back home in Brooklyn, former Congressman Towns is impressed by Jeffries' rise, Even more so, he says, due to the seniority system so important in Congress.
For him to be able to climb over folks that have been there 20 years, 25 years, and to be able to accomplish this goal, that is not easy.
And yet Jeffries had done it, paving a historic path from working-class Brooklyn to congressional leader, positioning himself to become Speaker if Democrats take back the House. In Washington, Kevin Frey, New York 1.